Good morning. We're in Oregon, and look at what I have behind me. This is absolutely insane. Like, I know about the East Coast, I know about the Gulf, and this is truly wild. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. I'm here with my boy Drew, who's up there getting a comp, and we're just hanging out shooting. We're gonna enjoy the day and hopefully get a few good shots along the way. It's gonna be super windy today in Oregon, which proves that there are some opportunities for some wide angle lens shots, some long exposure shots, and also some telephoto shots. So I have a few toys that I'm playing around with today. The first one is this 8-25 lens, which I love shooting with. I think it's a great range. I also have a new lens in my bag that I'm going to be trying out. But here's basically the composition that I'm going with in this photo. So what I have here is a lighthouse in the foreground. I've got some of the foliage down at the bottom. It's pretty dark in the frame. But the good thing about this is this camera has really good dynamic range. And basically any camera nowadays is going to have great dynamic range. So don't really worry about that too much. Even if you're shooting with a crop sensor, you know, it's gonna have great dynamic range. So what I'm dealing with right now is basically trying to fit all the way over here on the right side of the frame with the railing. I'm trying to time this out so that the lighthouse actually turns, and right about now is when I would take the shot and do like a 2-second exposure so you would get that full sweeping light from the lighthouse. And then I'm coming all the way over here to try to get these trees on the left side of the frame to kind of balance it out. You see the height of this, and then also the little peak of trees. It's almost like having two triangles in the frame and also having a middle triangle in the frame over here in the center. We foolishly were gonna come in here and try to find compositions after sunset last night when we stopped for dinner along the way at the Pelican Brewery. Highly recommend, by the way. And we never would have found it, because look at the trails. I mean, the trails hiking through these little pathways, we never would have found our way down here. Just waiting for a wave to come up, like right here. Here it comes. Right there. That was massive. The only thing I'm not loving about this is the dappled light on the bottom of the lighthouse. It just kind of distracts your eye just a little bit with that highlight. But it's almost like these trees have been casting shadows and they've been working from left to right. So I'm hoping if we just wait it out a little bit, those dappled lights will kind of move off over to the right side of the lighthouse, and we can get the whole lighthouse at least mostly in shadow and kind of work with the high dynamic range situation that we have going on here. But like tons of atmosphere over to the right side, and it's hard to complain about any shot when this is what you're looking at. Good first shoot. Happy with how things turned out. We're trying to plan the rest of the day based on tides and just timing of all that. So we're hoping to get down to the next spot and do some telephoto work, which hopefully play with that new toy I have in my bag, and just try to time it up with a lot of high tide coming into the area, because we're hoping to get some pretty big waves. It's supposed to be windy today. There's like a small craft warning to capsize little boats. So we're hopeful. We're not hopeful that boats will be capsized, but we are hopeful for some good shots in just a little while. Look at this guy. Beautiful, most beautiful place in the world. He's got his head buried in his phone.
Bro, got business to attend to.
It's pretty windy up here, but we are basically just pinpointing some of these locations and sea stacks and rocks out in the bay here. Because it's high tide, all that water is rushing in. What we're able to do right here with telephoto lenses is just seclude out the background, and that allows us to only focus in on like one rock. Now what I'm doing is using long exposures. I'm going to show you how I'm doing that with the new toy that I have in my bag. So this feature from OM System is actually really cool. This is the live ND filter that's built in, and it gives you an example of what that live ND is going to look like as you lengthen the exposure or shorten the exposure. So I have it to a 1 second exposure right now, but I'm basically just waiting for those waves to kind of engulf that one rock out there and capture all the blues in that color too. Now, as for this new lens that I'm using, this is brand new, hot off the press. This is the OM System 50 to 200 telephoto lens, and I'm actually really impressed. It only weighs a little over 1.5 pounds, I believe, and for a range of 50 to 200, that's insane. It allows you to basically handhold long exposure shots, even though that I have it set up on the tripod right now. But I was a little bit skeptical at 50 to 200. Would it be able to get me out to pinpoint specific parts of the waves and the rocks? And it has actually done that. Obviously, being a micro four thirds sensor, it's more like a 70 to, I don't know, 350 or something like that, but it really does a good job zooming in and secluding out objects in the frame. Drew forgot his sunglasses. Had to buy these. What do you guys think right here? Super windy out here right now. What basically we're just trying to do, we have about 4 hours till sunset, and we think it's gonna look pretty good. There's not a ton of cloud cover in the sky, but with the amount of wind and this good looking tide that's coming in and all the foreground features right here, I think it's gonna be a really good setup. It's always a good idea. Like, scouting is one of the lost arts in landscape photography. I feel like people just kind of get out there and panic and don't have a shot in mind. We've probably been walking around now for like an hour, just looking at what's available, what's here, and just trying to see different options as to what would be a good setup if the water is here or there. It's always a good idea to come out and do that. Super windy out here though, so I don't know how much longer we're gonna last for scouting, but it's setting up for a really good sunset, and we're gonna be here for a while now. Finally set up, waiting for the sun to go down a little bit more. The challenge about this shot, you see all this water coming in. What you're trying to do is get a lot of that water going out so it pulls you out into the frame. Doing a little bit of a long exposure, something like 1 second, to streak out the motion of that water, but also creating a little bit of streaking of the water. Like, you want to be able to see the motion, but still have that milky, long exposure look. Now, the other challenge here is separating out all the little rocks, having them live in their own space, in their own composition. And I think that's really what we're waiting on now. The only challenge is it's still really bright. We don't have a ton of cloud cover, which is fine. We're putting the horizon line pretty low down into the frame, but it's just a waiting game now. So here's what the shot looks like. You see the composition where everything is kind of living in its own space. I'm just waiting for that right wave movement. Looks like we could be getting one coming in right pretty soon. Might have to wait just a second on it. But those waves come in, and then with this long exposure on a 2 second timer, you just time it up. Here comes one. Watch this ND. Just time it up with a 2 second exposure. Just like that. And let's see what it looks like. Yeah, just like that. That looks really good. I got that shot in the can. I'm just jumping down. I'm running to a different one down the beach before the light fades. One thing about seascapes though, never turn your back on the ocean, because one of those sneaker waves comes up, get your boots all wet. If you're not wearing waders or anything like that, you don't want that to happen. You always got to be watching a little bit. So another little shot that I just found kind of over here is kind of like a silhouette rock shot. but I'm waiting for these waves to come in. I'm gonna try to get this one right in time. Right now, 2-second timer, it's gonna take, and then I'm gonna get out of the way because it's coming. I didn't bring any boots or anything, any rubber boots, so I kind of gotta move out of the way, then wait for that to back off, and then I'll go back there and try to take another one. But it's just playing with the motion of the water to try to get that right foreground in there. I want that motion of the water to make the foreground and really wrap around those rocks so it pulls you into the frame and makes it really dynamic, because the sky right now isn't super dynamic like it is, but with those waves down at the bottom and the motion of the waves, that's what's really gonna pull you into the frame. Now, I always try to have an idea of what crop I'm going to use while I'm shooting. So with this one, it's probably gonna be more like a 16:9 look to remove the majority of boring sky out of the frame and really bring in those foreground wave movements into the photo. Remember what I said about never turning your back on the ocean? Look, Drew's gonna get caught out here in high tide on this rock. He's gonna have to swim back. All in all, beautiful day, amazing chances for photography on a place that I've never been before. Stunning landscape. You can't be disappointed with any kind of shot that you get when you're surrounded by something like this. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Can't wait to see you in the next video.